Disney World or Epic Universe? Why not both? We're going to show you how to pull off a Universal/Disney vacation in the most successful way possible. Today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and today I'm going to show you how an Epic Universe vacation and a Disney World vacation can coexist, with a little extra planning, of course. Throughout the video, I'll show you example itineraries, best park-to-park practices, new tips, and overall food for thought before you get into the planning trenches. And then, by the very end of today's video, I'll show you the DFB team and my preferred theme park hopping strategies, so feel free to steal them and use them yourself if you want to. That's what they're here for. Just keep in mind that everyone's itineraries are going to look different, and what ends up working for your group might not work for everybody else, so be flexible, be willing to do a little bit of extra research, and most importantly, be ready to have the time of your life. Okay, I'm going to start with an answer that'll make you roll your eyes, but then I'm going to give you something more concrete to work with, I promise. The roll your eyes answer? The parks you should start with depends on you. I know, right? Sounds like a cop-out, but it's true regardless. Some people are going to go to Orlando for the first ever visit to any of the parks, Universal and Disney both. Some have been to Disney World every single year since their childhood and aren't planning on deviating from that path anytime soon. And some folks are traveling with younger kids, some with older, some are planning an adults-only getaway. So the way you start your vacation is really all going to depend on which parks you want to give the peak of your energy to. At the start of your trip, you're going to be relying on adrenaline. You've got the whole vacation week ahead of you. So you'll be ready to start off day one hitting the ground running. Just a phrase, please don't run in the park so you get in trouble. Since Epic Universe is a brand new park, this is why for most groups I recommend starting off here first. You're going to need that extra jolt of energy to see and do as much as you can in a day, especially if you've only got one day to spend in Epic Universe, which a lot of folks buying those kind of 3-day tickets only do have one day in Epic. This is probably the best course of action if you've been to Disney World before. Even though Disney's changing things constantly, you still more than likely have at least a basic grasp of how things work around those parts and how much you can reasonably get accomplished in a certain amount of time. But with a park like Epic Universe, there's a lot of newness to work around. You're trying to figure out the mobile order system, or how the free buses work, or where each of the portals is located, or what course of action you need to take when an attraction goes down. So going into Epic with a fresh mind and a fresh pair of eyes at the start of your vacation could be 10 times better than saving it all till the second half of your trip when you've already got a horrible sunburn and you're dehydrated and you're just exhausted. That being said, if you are traveling with younger kids who've never been to either of the parks before, you might want to start at Disney World instead. There's going to be more for younger kids to see and do inside the Disney parks, especially at Magic Kingdom, so you probably want the peak of their vacation adrenaline spent on a park destination where they're going to get the most out of their day. Or if you want to ease younger kiddos into the whole back-to-back immersive theme park trip, Animal Kingdom might, shockingly enough, be the best park to start in. This is a mindset I've just now been adopting after talking to some of my friends who've been traveling to Disney with their kids for the first time ever. Places like Magic Kingdom and even Epic Universe, especially Super Nintendo World, can be super overwhelming and way overstimulating for a kid who's never been exposed to these larger-than-life locations. But at a place like Animal Kingdom, which has more familiar zoo-like elements and not as many rides to accomplish in a single day, you can use Animal Kingdom to ease your kids into the theme park waters without dropping them straight into the deep end. Since Epic Universe has only been open for a few months now, I know you're still trying to learn about it just as much as we're still trying to learn about it. But the good news is that DFB is a team. So with the help of all of our reporters and writers and editors, we're able to put our brain power together and create a free Epic Universe PDF that covers all the different rides, shows, restaurants, shops, and all of our different experiences. Plus, we can give you some helpful tips and reviews so you know what exactly you're about to get yourself into here. Just scan the QR code you see on the screen now or click on the link for disneyfoodblog.com/epic after this, and we're going to send that PDF your way super quickly. Okay, no cop-out answer with this one. Just as soon as you figure out when your vacation timeline is, you need to go ahead and lock in those Epic Universe tickets. Epic Universe has been adjusting park capacity as more time passes, but that doesn't mean the park can't still sell out. So you need to prepare yourself for that possibility, especially if you're going during their very first holiday season. And you're going to need to be willing to course correct your vacation around when tickets will actually be available. If Epic Universe is already sold out on the day you were planning to visit, and you really don't have the wiggle room in your vacation to spare, there, keep checking back on the situation because Universal might release more tickets closer to that day. That being said, this can be a big old gamble for your entire trip, especially if Epic is a big reason why you're going in the first place. So again, I must say, be flexible. Now, the only time that I might recommend booking Disney tickets before Epic is if you're planning on attending an after-hours event or a holiday party at one of the Disney parks. And that's because those events and parties will always be capped at a limited number of guests to keep them from being too overcrowded, and they can absolutely sell out. Not to mention, they'll also only be available on a limited number of nights. So while planning around your Epic Universe visit can be a more flexible situation, Disney's after-hours events and holiday parties could be less so. But as far as Disney's general admission is concerned, you should get the green light of approval 90 to 95% of the time. Just keep in mind that days like Christmas or New Year's Eve could have the parks reach capacity quickly, so even if you have a ticket already purchased, you'll want to arrive at the front gates as soon as you can. Otherwise, the parks could reach capacity and keep you from getting in, even if you got a park ticket. I know. If that's ever the case, be sure to call 407-506-5000 on the day of your visit to check the capacity status of these parks, so you don't show up if you can't get in. And consider purchasing park hoppers during this time too. That way you can bide your time in a different Disney park that hasn't reached capacity while waiting for your priority park to free up some space. So I think this one might shock some of y'all, but let me just get this cop-out answer out of the way first. Dining budgets will look different depending on what you want to prioritize. There, done. Now, let's get into the meat of this. If you're sticking with a quick service across both Epic Universe and Disney World, then plan to budget more for your Epic Universe food. I repeat, budget more. Pretty much all of the different fast food and snack offerings in Epic are about $4 to $5 more expensive than they are at the Disney parks. Let me show you what I mean. If I pick up a Mickey pretzel in Disney, I'm gonna pay about $8.50 for that dude, but if I pick up a Frank and Friends pretzel in the Dark Universe section of Epic Universe, I'll need to pay $12.99. If I want a sweet crepe from La Crêperie de Paris in Epcot, those are gonna range between $7.95 and $10.95. But if I want that popular butterbeer crepe from the Wizarding World's Café L'air de la Sirène, I'm gonna have to shell out around $20 for that one. And if I want a chicken bowl with my choice of base and toppings over at Satu'li Canteen in Animal Kingdom, I'm gonna have to pay $13.49. But if I want to pick up Meat Lug's chicken bowl at Spitfire Grill in Epic Universe with no customizations, still gonna have to pay $16.99. Again, this isn't gonna be the case for all Epic Universe versus Disney World food items, but it's just a pattern our DFB team has been picking up on the more we frequent Epic to try more food items. Now, if you're looking to add maybe one or two or more table service restaurants to your theme park days, then Disney might still be the park property you'll want to budget more for when it comes to food. While Epic Universe's two sit-down restaurants, Atlantic and Blue Dragon, might be the right fit for some, they're not going to be the right fit for everybody. Atlantic specializes in seafood dishes and Blue Dragon specializes in Pan-Asian cuisine. So if your group is a fan of one or both of those two dining options, then great. Just be sure to book those dining reservations before your visit, which will open up months before your actual visit. As in back in July, I was looking for reservations for Atlantic, and I was still able to make them all the way until the first week of November. However, if your group isn't partial to either of those cuisine types, then you'll probably want to wait to use your table service dining budget over at Disney World, which will have hundreds of different table service options for you to choose from. Now, while I haven't written a whole Universal Orlando food book yet, I do have the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. And in that guide, we dive deep into helping you not only get an up-close look at every single Disney World restaurant, but also budget out your meals for the entire trip. Starting on Chapter 8 in our 101 section, we even go so far as to break down the average pricing for every single meal type, so you don't ever have to guess about how much money is enough for your dining budget. To pick up this guide, head to the dfbstore.com after this, or right now if you're eager, and don't forget to type in code YouTube so you can save some extra money on your guidebook purchase. Okay, are you really gonna make me say it? Fine, I'll say it. It all depends. The way you space out your Universal and Disney World vacation is going to rely on where your priorities lie, as well as what your vacation budget looks like and how much time you're actually going to have to spend in the Orlando area. If you want to do a weekend or a quick 2 to 3 day getaway, you can choose to do a 50-50 split trip. Pick Epic Universe plus one other Disney World park and call it good. Or if you're having a hard time picking just a single Disney park, you might want to invest in a one-day park hopper to at least see 2 to 3 or spend a brief moment in all 4 during that one-day visit. If you want to do Epic Universe and all the Disney World parks, then a week vacation should give you the wiggle room to do 1 park per day with 1 or 2 breaks in between to help give you a little breather. Or maybe you want to flip the script and hit all the Universal Orlando parks and just spend a day inside Disney World. That's totally cool too. The same amount of time should still work, especially if you want to do full days at Epic Universe, Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios, and Volcano Bay. And maybe even an extra day to do some of the extra Universal City Walk activities like mini golf or a visit to the movies or Universal's Great Movie Escape. But if you don't think you're going to need a full week to see and do everything in Universal Orlando, you can always look into purchasing park-to-park tickets for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida. Park-to-park tickets don't yet exist for Epic Universe, but I'll let you know if that status changes. Now, let's say you want to do everything. You want to do all the Universal Orlando parks and all the Disney World parks too. Well, you can. It is doable. But you're gonna have to plan in some break days to help pace it all out, because that's not just a sprint, nor is it a mere marathon, it's an ultra marathon. Park hopper tickets for both properties could become your best friends, just in case you don't want to spend over a week's worth of vacation to get it all done. Or you could always check on the Disney After Hours events on the days where you want to sleep in to recoup from multiple park days in a row. But really, I wouldn't recommend doing every single park all in one go if you can help it, unless this is like going to be your one and only Orlando trip ever. And the only reason I say that isn't because I'm trying to be a fun sucker. It all goes back to that first point in this video. You'll be your freshest and most excited at the start of your vacation, but by the end of it, the parks that'll cap off your trip might get the short end of the stick when it comes to your overall enthusiasm. Ooh, tricky. There are major benefits for staying directly on either property. Both resorts have similar theme park benefits for their respective properties, such as early park admission and free transportations. So choosing whether to stay at Disney or at Universal has a lot of components. Disney's early theme park entry is going to let you enter any of their theme parks on any day 30 minutes before official opening time, while Universal's early entry is only on select days for certain parks, but will give you up to an hour of extra time in those parks. Now, when it comes to transportation, Universal mainly relies on their buses, though some of their hotels also have watercraft services over to the City Walk area. Not to mention, all of Universal's hotels are technically within walking distance to either 1 or 2 of the parks. Because Epic Universe isn't part of the main Universal Orlando bubble and is actually about 15 minutes away, more in the direction towards Disney, the only hotels that are walkable to Epic will be the 3 brand new ones: Stella Nova, Terra Luna, and Helios Grand. Stella Nova and Terra Luna are prime value hotels, so you won't have to spend an arm and a leg to stay there, though they'll still probably be pricier than your average hotel chain. Terra Luna tends to be the cheapest of the 3 though, and that's because it doesn't have a direct walking path to Epic like Stella Nova does. Instead, you'll have to cross the street first and then use Stella Nova's walking path to make it the rest of the way over. But when it comes to Helios Grand, Universal's newest premier resort, that hotel might be super expensive, but it does have a designated entrance that spits you out right in the middle of Epic Universe. No extra walking necessary. So the convenience alone might be worth the price point. Now, as for Disney, buses are the main way for getting around property as well. And much like Universal, some of Disney's hotels might also use boats or have designated walking paths up to 1 or 2 of the parks. On top of that, select resorts also use other transportation means like the monorail train system or the Disney Skyliner, which is a sky gondola system similar to the enclosed cabins that you might find carrying passengers up the mountain at a ski resort. In both cases, Universal and Disney alike, transportation systems like these are free for anyone to use and even non-hotel guests, but they're extra convenient for those staying at the hotels because you never have to worry about driving yourself around property if you don't want to. Now, each resort property also has its own set of hotel benefits that the other resort property doesn't offer to its guests. When it comes to the Disney hotels, guests will receive free water park access on their resort check-in day, at least for 2025 and the summer of 2026, Free hotel parking at the resort they're staying in. Guests have to pay around $20 to $30 per night to have their car parked at their Universal hotel parking lot. An expanded dining reservation window, which Universal really doesn't need because, as I mentioned before, they just naturally have their table service reservations open months in advance for everybody. The option to prepay for all your meals before your Disney visit through the Disney Dining Plan. Early access to Lightning Lane selections, a 7-day window versus a 3-day one. Don't worry, we'll talk more about this premium skip the line service a little bit later. And extended evening hours for deluxe resort guests only, which allows you to stay in select parks on certain nights up to 2 hours after the park closes for everybody else without paying any extra. Meanwhile, Universal hotel guests will receive pool hopping privileges unless you're staying at one of the new Epic Universe area hotels or Endless Summer. Free package delivery for gift shop purchases, which Disney used to offer but hasn't since the COVID closures. Priority seating at restaurants for premier hotel guests only, and free unlimited express passes for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida, again for premier hotel guests only, except for if you're staying at Helios Grand. Now, that unlimited express pass situation, that gives you the chance to skip the line at so many of the rides as many times as you want to, usually costs hundreds of dollars. So that's a huge perk for staying at Universal. Now I know this is a lot to chew on, but the easy answer is you need to choose a hotel on property where you're going to be spending the most time on vacation. If it's going to be split 50-50, then you might also want to consider a split hotel stay to reap the benefits of both properties. You could start your vacation at Epic Universe and stay at either Stella Nova or Terra Luna for that easy Epic Universe access and potential early admission access. Then you can schedule the break day right after to give you time to hop over to one of the Disney Value resorts and use your free water park tickets while you're at it. Or you could pivot and go an entirely different route and just find a cheaper, well-rated Airbnb or off-property hotel in the middle of the two locations, so you don't have to worry about transferring at all. You'll just more than likely be sacrificing a lot of those extra park perks. Okay, what's the best way to travel between locations? While each theme park property does a pretty stand-up job of helping you easily get around their own property, you're never going to see a Universal bus take guests over to Disney World, or vice versa. So what's the best way to jump between both locations if both places want you to stay inside their own bubble? I wish I could give you a perfect answer with no strings attached, but unfortunately, there's always going to be some sort of string attached, maybe even multiple strings. So you'll just have to figure out which method will have more good than bad for your group. The obvious answer is taking your own car to help you get around, but that might not be as realistic for those who are traveling across the country and would much rather take a plane rather than rack up thousands of miles on the family van and maybe don't want to rent a car. So let's consider a few alternative options here. Remember how I just mentioned that certain non-theme park hotels will force you to sacrifice theme park perks? Well, that might be true for some perks. Select off-property hotels might also give you the best of both worlds, though, when it comes to shuttle services. Being near two major vacation destinations means that a lot of hotels in the area are not dedicated solely to either Disney or Universal, so they offer free shuttle service to everywhere. You'll want to do a little bit of extra research on this, though, so you can see exactly how your chosen hotel offers this service ahead of time. This is also why it's a good idea to reach out to free, reliable travel agents like our friends over at Small World Vacations to take on that extra research for you and make sure you're getting the best travel conveniences at the best price points for your vacation budget. If you want to reach out to them for a free quote, I will link their info down in the description. If you want the freedom to drive yourself to the parks whenever you want to, then that rental car might be your best bet instead. This will more than likely be your priciest option though, especially when you consider you'll have to pay each day to park at both sets of theme parks, which will quickly add up. Not to mention, you'll have to drive in Orlando traffic, so that can be daunting sometimes. Rideshare services like Uber or Lyft might be a better option for you since it'll give you the freedom to travel between properties whenever you want to while not having to deal with the Orlando rush hours and traffic jams yourself. But again, budgeting for this service is important because even if you're not going to be paying for daily theme park parking, you're still probably going to be paying around the same price for each one-way rideshare ride. Another option, you might want to try Orlando's public buses. Public buses through the local Lynx system offer transportation from Disney to Universal, giving you another more affordable option to consider. But the main problem with this is that each resort property is serviced by different bus lines. That means you would need to transfer bus lines in addition to making multiple stops and spend what could be upwards of 2 hours to traverse a mere 8 miles. Affordable? Maybe. Convenient? Not so much. Now, I told you I'd come back to this skip the line point. Both Disney and Universal have premium skip the ride line services, and while both systems pretty much achieve the exact same thing, helping you bypass main queue lines in exchange for much shorter waits, they also work totally differently. To really go into all the key differences here would take a lot of time that we don't really have today, so the bare bones difference between these skip the line services is that Disney has you pre-select the rides you want to skip the lines for, unless you pay for their Premier Pass system, while Universal just lets you walk right on up and on the ride, no pre-planning necessary. Again, this is a very basic difference between them. There are also a lot of tiers and nuances to consider as well, but if you're trying to decide on just one park property to purchase skip the line services for, think about it this way. Disney's multi-pass system, which is the basic skip the line service that covers most of Disney's rides and has you pre-select lightning lanes before and during your park visit, tends to range between $15 and $39 per person per day. But a basic express pass for Epic Universe, which will help you skip over the lines of several rides one time only with no pre-selection process to worry about, is going to cost you $129 to $329 per person per day. So you could potentially buy multi-pass for all 4 Disney parks and it'd still be cheaper in total than the express pass option for Epic Universe. Unfortunately, Epic Universe doesn't have that Premier Resort perk where guests can get free express passes, at least that's the case for now, so paying for these outright is going to be your only chance at getting them, which may be worth it to you if, again, this is going to be your one and only visit to this park, or you're not planning on coming back here for a good long while. Not to mention, Express Pass is relatively easier to use around Universal in general, without any pre-selection like the Disney service requires. But that Express Pass purchase for Epic Universe does not include rides like Minecart Madness, Dragon Racers Rally, and Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. Those are 3 extremely popular rides. So, considering the park only has 11 rides to access in the first place, you're potentially paying thousands of dollars for your whole group to skip the ride lines for 8 rides, some of which probably don't even need it. Not to mention, Epic Universe has a lot of single rider lines you can take advantage of, so if your group wants to try and cut down your wait time without spending anything extra, you can choose to part ways momentarily and use that single rider queue to help team members fill in all the available space. So really, when it comes to which park I'd more than likely prioritize a skip the line service for, I'm probably going to choose Magic Kingdom, though Hollywood Studios would be a close second. A multi-pass purchase for Magic Kingdom is going to give you lightning lane options for over 15 different rides and attractions, and since this park is constantly busy, this purchase can feel more worth the extra splurge than others. Okay, I get it. We gave you a lot of choices to mull over today, but what would we personally at DFB choose as a game plan for ourselves? Because we want you to be able to walk away with definitive, this is what we would do, just so you don't have to think any harder than that. So here's what the team has collectively agreed upon, which you can adopt too, or you can at least take with a grain of salt. 1, do the split stay. So I know the extra travel between hotels can be a little bit of a hassle, but being able to reap the benefits of both the Disney Hotel Park privileges and the Universal Hotel Park privileges will help put you ahead of the game for both park properties immensely. While you can definitely choose the budget options all around, I think it's fun to at least splurge for one night in Helios Grand if you're only planning on spending one day at Epic, just because you'll get that dedicated theme park entrance, which you can't find at any of Disney World's parks. And then you can choose a Disney value resort like Pop or Art of Animation for the rest of your vacation, especially if you'll be spending more time inside the Disney bubble to cover more of their parks. Second big tip, here's what we would do thing. Use the free express passes. Now, if you're planning on spending more time in the Universal bubble than just one day at Epic, I'd highly recommend splurging on a premier level hotel like Loews Portofino Bay or Hard Rock or Royal Pacific. While these rooms can be pricey, the free unlimited express passes that you'll get with them to use around Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios is well worth the value, especially when you consider unlimited express passes for these 2 parks usually cost between $120 and $380 per person per day. So if you were planning on spending a good chunk of money on these passes anyways, staying at a premier level hotel might actually help save you a whole lot of money when all is said and done. And then, like I said before, you can transfer over to a Disney Value hotel after that for the remainder of your trip. Number 3 on our list, book the rental car. This might be more of a controversial choice, but I always think having the freedom to come and go around both properties anytime I please is well worth saving for. Yep, Florida traffic can be a hassle to get around, but just make sure you're planning ahead for that extra travel time because congestion is almost always a guarantee during rush hour. If you don't want to pay for a rental car for your entire trip, though, you can always check out the rental options available at each park property. Most of the Universal Orlando hotels have their own Avis car rental stands inside their resorts. The Universal website talks a little bit more about this, as well as what rental benefits you'll get while renting with Avis or Budget, which both directly partner with Universal. But you can also always book your Universal car rentals ahead of time too, just to be on the safe side of things. Now, if you want to rent with Budget, you can get 25% off your car rental with offer code BCD D792600. And you can rent with Avis and get 25% off with code AWD D397600. Now, if you're at Disney, you can access the Disney World Car Care Center for all your rental car needs, including rental pickups and drop-offs for select rental agencies. And if anything goes wrong with your own car here, the Car Care Center offers roadside and repair services too, plus shuttle services to take you over to the parks for free when you're short a set of wheels. Alamo and National have offices in the Car Care Center, which you're going to find located near Magic Kingdom. So if you just need the car for a day to head over to Epic or whatever, just get it for a day and then you can return it right on property. Okay, 4 on our list. Schedule the 4-day getaway. It's tricky to find that fine line between an Orlando vacation that's not too short, but also not too long. But I find 4 days, not including arrival and departure days, to be a nice happy medium, especially for families. Here's the brief rundown of my perfect 4-day Orlando getaway. But as always, adjust your schedule to fit your personal vacation needs. On arrival day, you make it over to your Orlando hotel, whichever one you're staying in, and kick off your trip by relaxing by the pool or having a nice meal in one of the shopping districts. Then, day 1, Epic Universe Day. You spend as much time at this park as you possibly can, soaking it all in before crashing back in your hotel room by the end of the night. Day 2 rolls around. This is when you'll have a little wiggle room to move from your current Universal resort over to your Disney resort. And if you're feeling up to it, your Disney hotel check-in day will also give you that free water park visit that you may want to take advantage of. Otherwise, take it easy. Move into your new Disney home away from home, chill at your new pool, or enjoy a nice meal at Disney Springs. Day 3 will be your full Disney day at whatever park you want to spend the most time in, though if you have a park hopper, you might also want to use that to make sure you cover all the Disney parks in one go. I'd recommend spending a full day at Magic Kingdom, lots to see and do here for all ages. And day 4 will be your park hopping Disney day. The easiest parks to hop between are Hollywood Studios and Epcot, thanks to the Skyliner, and they're even easier to get to if you're staying at one of the Skyliner resorts, which if you do go the value resort route and choose Pop Century or Art of Animation, then lucky you, you got a cheaper hotel, a direct Skyliner access, lots of Disney perks, and easy travel between 2 of Disney's 4 parks. Win, 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 win. Now, whether you're Team Universal, Team Disney, or Team I refuse to choose a side because I love them all, like we are here, we're here to help you optimize whatever you've got planned for your next Orlando vacation. So now it's time for a little choose your own adventure in the road. If you want to continue planning for the Epic Universe side of your trip, go ahead and check out our video for everything you need to know about Epic Universe in 15 minutes, and download that free PDF over at disneyfoodblog.com/epic2. But if you're ready to plan out more of the Disney World details, go ahead and check out our video for 20 big changes Disney has already announced for 2026, because you're gonna need to know about those big time. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. I know it's a tough decision. We will get there. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and I'll see you real soon.